Hello again. So there's one issue that I've been struggling here for the longest time when recording these videos here on the bench, and if we stay quiet here for a few seconds, you'll be able to hear it. And you might have noticed there, yeah, we have an annoying 60 hertz and then a really high-pitched whine that tends to be like in the 10 kilohertz range. I try to minimize it by tweaking the audio settings when I do my video editing and all that, but it's just annoying that it's there, and it would just be a lot easier and quicker for me to do all this stuff if I didn't have to deal with it. The cause of that noise would be this guy right here. I installed these some time ago just to help me provide some extra lighting when recording my videos, just so I have enough light here to work and stuff. And I was hoping that it wasn't going to be very noticeable, because I can't hear it when you're standing here in person. You can hear it, and it's pretty audible. But yeah, like I said, I was just hoping that the camera wasn't going to pick it up as much, but unfortunately it does. And right now I'm recording with the camera's built-in mics, and if I hook up an external microphone. Right here I've got this little Sony desktop mic, and it's got built-in noise reduction. On the side here it's got a couple of settings for like low and high. It sort of works. Like if I'm quiet, it minimizes some of the noise. You can still hear a little bit of 60 hertz hum, but that's because the cable is picking up the hum from the wiring here. If I unplug the power cord for the camcorder, right now it's plugged in. If I unplug it, you can see that a lot of that hum goes away, but every time I start talking, we start picking up that 10 kilohertz noise again. So this sort of helps in a way, but it also introduces like some other issues. Like I said, I've just been struggling with this like left and right, trying to like figure out one way or another to minimize the noise, and I'm just kind of fed up with it. So today I'm going to try to come up with a new light here to replace this fluorescent tube up above, and that's not the only one. There's actually two of them. So I have that one here, and then if I kind of pan this around here, you're going to see that there's another one right there, and I have both of these kind of like right above the bench, and then there's another one over there. But those are like the ones that are around the garage, and those aren't really a problem. Those are using some electronic ballast, and they're really quiet. But these other ones are not. These just have like a regular magnetic ballast. I just kind of cobbled those together with stuff that I had laying around just to get them to work, so I would have some additional lighting here. And that was a result, and I'm not happy. I have this backlight set here that I got from a broken LCD TV where the screen was shattered and just wasn't worth saving or anything, so I just took it apart. But here's the power supply board, and there's the lamps. You'll notice right now that everything's got dimmer, and that's because I turned off those two lights up in the top there. But you can probably also notice that the noise completely went away, so it's a lot quieter. I also have this other lamp that I use here. So one of these desk lamps that I can kind of like position around and stuff, and it sort of helps, but sometimes it kind of gets in the way. And other times the problem with this is that if I'm trying to like record something up close, like say we try to get this board, probably not gonna be too noticeable, but and right now I still have fixed exposure here. I'm just gonna turn this off. Okay, so there's kind of adjusted. Problem is I tend to get like bright spots, and it's yeah, that's like another set of issues. So I'd rather just have like some sort of lighting where I can just turn it on, forget about it. I can work on what I need to work on, and I'm not gonna have to be sitting there repositioning things, worrying about noise, all that stuff. So I'm just gonna kind of keep this one here for now, because this one doesn't really introduce any noise or anything. So anyways, the goal here is to make another sort of a over the bench light here that's not going to introduce a lot of noise. And right now I've already sort of modified this where I can get it to turn on by itself as soon as I plug it in. It wasn't really difficult. All I had to do was like figure out which line turned the power supply on, and I was thinking, and I was kind of hoping that maybe this was going to be able to have an adjustment so I could turn up or turn down the brightness. But it turns out that it doesn't quite work that way. I think it's meant to be used with PWM from the main LCD controller, because I put this pot here on what I thought was going to be the or what should be the line to adjust the brightness of the LEDs. But as soon as I get to like a certain threshold, they just completely turn off, and then once I go above that, then they just turn back on. So yeah, it seems like they're meant to be driven with PWM. But I will plug this in, and because I moved this, they're not going to turn on, so I gotta adjust it there to the point where they'll turn on somewhere. There we go. So now they're on, and they're pretty bright. So I think these might do okay for providing lighting above the bench here. And they have the lenses over the front here that are meant to like spread the light kind of outwards. So if you're looking at them directly, you know, from the front, they're not as bright as they are if you kind of go to the side here. So I don't know if I'm going to have to use some sort of reflectors or something on these, or maybe even just remove those completely. So, I mean, I'm kind of hoping they work, but at the same time, it's sort of an experiment, and you know, we'll see how it works out. So this is what I'm planning on doing here. I got this big board of this particle board that was like from a shelf, like a store display type of shelf that was getting chucked. But it's pretty decent, and I'm hoping what I can do is I'll mount these, you know, to like the front, and then on the back side is where I'll mount the power supply board. So that's going to be on the back, and then I'm going to hang it above the workbench here. We're using some of these hooks and some chain. And I mean, this thing's not going to be very heavy, so it's not like I need like really hardcore stuff to hold it up. And I mean, it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I'm going to have to add like a power switch to turn it on and off. And then I have an outlet right up there, right above. So that's it's going to be pretty quick and easy to do. And as I was saying about the lights, if you know I need to, maybe I can like get some like metal, you know, paint it white or whatever, and then just put like a few reflectors here on the sides and stuff to kind of help bounce the light back down if I need to. We'll try it like this first and see how that does. This board here wasn't really all that difficult to figure out. You can see up here we have this line here that says all 3.3, and that's that little jumper right there. Right here we have P on, and so that would be power on. We have a ground one right here. This one right here says BL switch, so that'd be backlight switch. And then there's another one up here that says backlight adjust. So that backlight adjuster was the one that I was thinking, you know, would allow me to input like an analog voltage, and it would adjust the brightness of the LEDs, but it does not do that. So like I said, I'm pretty sure it's a PWM driven by the main controller. So usually when it comes to like a power supply like this, the power supply on pin or line, you know, will take some sort of a positive voltage, or at least from experience. So I figured tapping the 3.3 volt here and jumping it directly to the P on should turn the power supply on, and sure enough, it was immediately it was a go. It turned on. So but just turning that on does not turn the LEDs on. That's what the backlight switch here and then the adjust do. So I didn't want to short all these together directly, so I used this 10K resistor here to go from the 3.3 to the backlight switch, and that enabled the circuit, but the LEDs still did not turn on. So that's when I figured, well, this backlight adjust must need something too, and so I hooked it up to the center point of this pot here, this 100K pot. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm wondering if maybe that pot is like way too hot or way too big of a resistance, and maybe I'm getting like a really tiny, like narrow range there of where the LEDs turn on and where they turn off. So I was trying to find a smaller one, but this is what I had handy. I'll dig around and see if maybe I have something else that might work. This resistor right here is not doing anything. I just happen to have it chilling there on the bench, so I just use that for its lead. Then I got a piece of wire here that I tapped to the ground point there. So this on this side all the way clockwise would be the minimum voltage, and then counterclockwise would be the maximum voltage of 3.3. So yeah, I think I'm going to try to find a smaller pot and see if maybe, you know, I get like a finer range there where maybe the backlights can be adjusted. But if they can't, I'm not too worried about it. If it's like fully on, it's fine. We can see on the back here that there's a total of like 3 LED driver sections. So it's basically one of these per string of LEDs there. and then there's the output to the LEDs. Also, another thing I didn't do is I forgot to look on the data sheet for these drivers and see, you know, exactly how the brightness is driven. If it says something about an analog voltage, then for sure this resistor is probably like way too big for this, and I'm just getting like I said, too narrow of a range there of where the voltage changes from one to the other. So I might do that. Just look it up and see what it says about that. And if it's the case is that it's a PWM, I'm probably not going to bother making a, you know, like a separate driver for that. I'll just have them be on like at full brightness the whole time, unless it's too big of a deal and it is too bright, then, you know, I'll do something about it. But otherwise, I'm fine with it. Now I want to mention before I get any comments about this, that this is actually not intended to be like a permanent solution. This whole mounting it on this particle board stuff. This is meant to be mostly an experiment, just to see if, you know, this lighting is going to be adequate, and also, you know, just to use stuff that I have laying around, because I'm not exactly running on a big budget here or anything. So if this works out, then I'll look into making something more permanent, like out of metal or whatever. This I'm not exactly too comfortable with, you know, having these are they're technically heat sinks for these LEDs. You know, they heat up and on particle board. So yeah, not exactly the best thing, and I would not, you know, ever recommend to be doing anything like this. So don't say I told you to do it, because if you do something and it goes bad, you know, that's on you. So yeah, so like I said, this is just an experiment mostly. And on the back here, I've got the power supply mounted with just some standoffs and some screws, and you know, it's all kind of not the best, and really nothing I would want to make permanent. Alright, so that fixture's up, and does it work? Yes, as we can see from this board here, it's not too terrible. And I mean, there's like dark areas, like say, you know, from here, but that's because this part of the board there is vertical. And if I had like some lights, you know, coming from behind, or from like front, like where I'm standing here, you know, be able to see it better. And that's actually a future project that I'm planning on working on. I want to make some soft boxes so I can have light, you know, coming from the front, illuminating that. I had to put this just to experiment, put this cloth over the lights, because by themselves they are the lights, yeah, like I mentioned, it's more on the outsides than in the center, so it was like pretty bright all throughout except for like down here, and this kind of softens it up a bit where it's a little more diffused for down here. But that's not something I'm going to keep on. That was just to you know, diffuse the light a bit, just to see how it looked. And in person it's really bluish, which I'm not exactly thrilled about either. So I think it's going to take a bit of more experimentation with this to try to get something, you know, really useful. But as is, I mean, if we are for quiet, there's like absolutely like no noise at all. There's no humming, no whining or anything. So for the time being, this might sort of work, minus that cloth. I don't want to keep that on there. I guess maybe if I was to put some sort of like a filter in front of the, or underneath the lights, you know, or the LEDs to change the color output a little bit, maybe that might help. I think it's, like I said, the light output, it's not too bad. I think it would be doable. It's just that they're pretty blue. I don't know. I guess I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll try some videos out with this setup and see if it works out. If not, back to the drawing board, come up with something else. I just threw a few examples of stuff here on the bench just to see how it looks, you know. And you can see that if I run my hand over here, there's like really no like really sharp shadows, because the light's so diffused and it's kind of spread out everywhere that it's not terrible. But like I said, I'm not 100% happy yet. I guess for the time being, I'll just you know, use that to sort of illuminate a little bit here, and then I'll still have to use this other desk lamp. You can tell that there's a difference, like there, desk lamp off, and right there it's on. So yeah. Here's a shot of this board again, and on camera it doesn't look too bad, but it's actually pretty dark in here. But I mean, I have auto exposure on the camera right now, and I have these 100-watt LEDs, like these modules, and I kind of like the light output of these, except that, you know, I wouldn't want to have like lights, you know, just on top with these. I was actually planning on using these for like these soft lights that I'm talking about. But let's see, let's back at this board here. I'm gonna zoom in on that, and I'm gonna turn this light on. So it's pretty dang bright, but you know, like I said, I wouldn't use it just a bare module like this. I'd want to put it inside something that would diffuse the light a bit. And yeah, like you can see, we can get like some really sharp shadows in the back there. But I think these would actually be pretty cool to use to light up the bench when recording. So that's going to be a topic of a future video there. So in all honesty, this turned out to be a little bit disappointing. I mean, I guess at least now I can, you know, still have some light here and be able to record without the additional noise being introduced from those fluorescent lights. But I'm gonna have to keep working on this and try to figure out, you know, like a good arrangement for lighting, because, you know, it is nice to have a decent amount of light. So, well, I'll keep going, and thanks guys for watching. I'll see you guys around the bench.